Typically at age 5, a child is sexually abused, and as a result of that, they sometimes have an insecurity, low self-worth, low value. They don't know their identity. And for me as a Christian, my identity comes in Christ, but it doesn't mean to say that I fully know who I am, who He's created me to be. When a girl walks down the road with a group of friends, a trafficker sees a target on her back, and he will say to her, "You look beautiful." And he looks for the girl who looks down or looks behind when he walks off. And so he determines she doesn't know her value. And so that girl has a target. She's not even aware she has the target. And then when she's in movie town, let's say we're in Trinidad, when she's in movie town, she posts and tags, "I'm in movie town." So guess who turns up? The very same guy. And he says, "Hey, I remember you from before." The thing is, what individuals don't realize is that traffickers have a special gifting, if I can call it that. They can see the individuals who have been sexually abused. Just as a woman keeps dating men who beat her up, they can see that target. When I'm in a room full of students, especially girls and boys, I can tell who's having sex. It's obvious. When it's just girls, not as obvious. Just boys, not really. But when it's girls and boys, I can see that. The trafficker can see so much more. So he looks at the individual, he sees that vulnerability, and he wants to take advantage of it. Now, many women have a need, and that need is emotional, and that need is a need for a father, because often they have an absent father, or the father is in the home, but he's absent. He isn't really present. And so as a result of that, they have this need, and the trafficker, he sees it and exploits it. So the girl's in movie town, he bumps into her, coincidence or not, and he says to her, "I saw you the other day. I want to take you out for food. Let me do your hair, nails, makeup." He will give her money and he will groom her. He will even listen to her problems, because these traffickers are very smart. And there are certain traffickers who have so much patience, which means they will groom this girl and date her until she believes that he is her boyfriend. Some traffickers do not have time for that. So what they do, they will brutalize, gang rape, keep the girl in a closet or a house for 3 days without food, water, or a toilet, and then turn her out so she can turn tricks. So there are different types of traffickers. Those are the two main ones. But what you have to understand, once the trafficker has got her in his grips, it's hard for her to leave. It starts with her having sex with him, and then he says, "Have sex with my friends." And that's because he saw that vulnerability and he exploited it. So I have felt the need to explain grooming, because there are people who have no idea what grooming is. They're in their 50s, they're in their 60s, they're well learned, and they think grooming is combing their hair. This is far from the truth. And even when I've talked to children, they say grooming is looking after yourself, doing your eyebrows and waxing. That is grooming, but in this day and age, when we talk about grooming in the human trafficking world, we're talking about sexual exploitation. I met somebody who told me a story, and that story was about a person that they were in a relationship with. From hearing the story, I realized a lot of people do not know what love is. And as a result of that, I now have to explain what love is. Because people just don't know, and I'm talking of all age groups. And so I asked the children in the room, and even adults, what is love? And I asked a group of adults, and one individual gave me an acronym. And I don't remember the acronym, but it was something like learning, objectives, very engaging. I don't remember the acronym, but for me, I was more confused than when I asked the question, what is love? And so children have said various things to me. It's trust, it's caring, it's the way you feel. It protects, it helps you, it looks after you, it wants the best for you. And so as a result of my friend who shared her story, and she told me about how her boyfriend demonstrated love, I realized I have to explain. People honestly don't know what it is. And so I tell them what it says in the Bible. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast. It is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It does not hold a record of wrongs. It trusts, it protects, it always perseveres. And I was talking to a child and I asked her, does your boyfriend love you? Please explain to me if he does these things. Is he patient? Does he trust you? Does he protect you? Does he keep a record of wrongs? And she communicated with me and explained her thoughts on this ex-boyfriend and his relationship with her. Understand this. If somebody loves you, they will not force you to do things that you don't want to do. I think about a girl who was kidnapped, I use the term loosely, by her teacher. She was underage and she willingly, quoting, she willingly went off with her teacher to France. They had been having sex and she said they loved each other. For me, I personally believe, if I use the word patient, kind, trustworthy, and all those things in the Bible, I don't believe he loved her. And my reasons are, if he loved her, he would have been patient. If he loved her, he would respect the law of the land, number one, which says after the age of 16, you can engage in a consensual sexual relationship. Because if he loved her, he wouldn't want to get put in jail for having sex with her underage. So I say to these children, if you're underage, or you do not want to have sex with a person for whatever reason, because you're waiting till marriage, or because you simply do not want to, if the person says to you, if you love me, that is not love, because love is patient, love is respectful. And as I said, hearing a story from somebody who described a boyfriend who was controlling, I had to explain to these children and adults what love is. Love is not sending you multiple text messages. Love is not buying you things. I've heard stories of women who have been beaten up by their boyfriend